Hello everyone, Robert here from European Watch Company in Boston, and welcome to Deep Cuts. We've decided to call these videos Deep Cuts because what I like to do is take kind of a small part of the watch world and zoom in on it and think about things that maybe people are overlooking or that maybe there are misconceptions about. And so today on Deep Cuts, we're going to look at two-tone watches. Two-tone watches to me are kind of a polarizing thing. You have some people who really don't like them, you have some people who think they're pretty great, and then you have everything in between. The other thing that I think two-tone really has going for it is the value proposition. People within the watch collecting hobby are always looking at, like, where can I get good value? What's a good buy right now? I get that question like 100 times a day. What's a good buy? And I think two-tone does strike a really nice balance because say you're looking at a Daytona. You have the steel at one price, you have the all gold at another price, and then in the middle you have two-tone, where you actually sometimes can even get those for a better price than the steel, and you're getting a little bit more value there because you are getting solid precious metal in that watch. You're getting just a little bit of bling. Maybe you don't want to go too over the top, so it gives you a little bit of sparkle. And it just strikes that really nice kind of middle ground, both in terms of the price point and in terms of how much watch you get for the money. I think there's a lot of sentimentality with two-tone, because if I say a two-tone watch, what probably pops into your head is this. This is the 40mm Rolex Sub in two-tone with the blue dial and the blue bezel. And this watch became like a standard bearer for two-tone watches. And I think for people in my generation, this became kind of a symbol of success, a symbol of making it to a place in life. Whether you saw it on your dad or a family friend or somebody that you admire and respect, this became a really powerful watch. I think that's why it's been in production for so long. I think that's why, it's still available. You can buy this in the 41mm case with the ceramic bezel. It's still a popular watch. A lot of people think it's dated. I could see one of two things. I could see either this making a big comeback, because the world is kind of always looking back at fads like this, or I could see it just kind of continuing to silently be a really strong segment of the watch market, no matter how people want to push it to the side. So when we move on from the standard gold and steel, we start to look at really interesting ways of combining metals. So we move into AP next. And we've talked about AP in the past and how some people kind of talk about them being a one-trick pony where everything is Royal Oak. And while I'm not going to disagree with that wholeheartedly, what I will say is that they have done a lot of interesting things with the Royal Oak in the past. And one of them was doing these mixed metal combinations that went beyond the standard. So in this case, we have two white metals put together, which sounds redundant and maybe unnecessary. But I think AP, looking at these metals and looking at how they take the finish and looking at how that finished product will look, they actually were really clever in creating something that has a lot of subtlety, but also has a lot of great detail to it. And it does have a lot of wow factor when you kind of zoom in on it. So in this case, we have titanium mixed with platinum. The brushed titanium has a really unique look. Doesn't look like steel, doesn't look like platinum or gold. You can always kind of pick that out. And then when you do high polished titanium, you get this bright, bright, bright finish and very white, because platinum is a naturally white metal, unlike white gold. So a really interesting and cool watch, and something that adds that very cool element to it without being kind of over the top or maybe too showy. Similarly, we have an Offshore where it uses the ceramic bezel with the titanium body. And so, again, we get a little bit of a sportier appearance here because you get a bezel that takes a finish like metal, and I guess technically is metal, but ultimately has a really different kind of coloration and has a really nice durability to it as well. So I think you not only get form with this, but you get function too, which I really appreciate. And then two-tone is not simply isolated to the hyper expensive stuff. There are also some really interesting two-tone entries in the slightly more accessible price brackets. So we have Omega here doing a Seamaster Professional in a ceramic case with a rose gold bezel, rose gold crown, and rose gold gas escape valve. To me, this is really great because it gives you a watch that's really versatile. It gives you a watch that's not too showy, but it has enough interest there to not be boring. And I think the rose gold on the hand hands and the dial on the markers, it pops just enough. Very similar to like the rose gold two-tone pieces from Rolex, like the Yachtmaster and the Root Beer, which have also proven to be really popular in the past couple years. So is two-tone dead? Not at all. Is it thriving? Not yet. But I think it's not just your grandpa's two-tone anymore. I think we're getting into a world where this exists within the watch market and takes up space in a really good way. So don't sleep on two-tone watches. Don't discount them without putting them on your wrist. You might like it more than you think. So as always, I greatly appreciate you watching. I hope that you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please do subscribe so you see when we've got new exciting stuff coming out. And please hit that like button while you're at it. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.